So you could hear two moonlights over here speaking. Yeah, because we are also live streaming on Binance Live as well. And the reason why we do this is because we wanted to have more audience to listen to our AMA session to learn more about this very unique AI powered Web3 game, The Kingdom. And so I'm going to keep translate the information to our audience. 刚才呢，不好意思，我赶快先静音一下，因为我们其实今天还有跟我们的往常的所有的节目一样，我们都是会同步在币安直播，就是希望说能够让更多的听众朋友们能够听到我们的节目，能够参与进来，然后能够认识一下我们在介绍的这些新的 Web3 的项目，而且我们都是只有介绍优质项目啊。这个不够优质项目是绝对不可能来到我们 Ultiverse 的，所以大家可以放心的质量是有保障的。我们再回到话题啊，刚才有讲到说，再过了1个多小时，差不多是1个小时在39分钟左右就要铸造了这个 The Kingdom， 然后这个叫做 Season 0，就是第0季。第0季呢，分别是有 Avatars， 就是会有虚拟人，还有 Founder Chest， 也就是会有这个宝箱。对吧？这个创办人宝箱，那么总量999，所以非常非常少，但价格是免费的。平台是 Magic Eden， 然后的这个 Launchpad， 然后时间也就是我们的这个 UTC 时间的5点，就是我们的纽约时间的中午12点，然后东八区时间的清晨1点，所以非常非常快，在1个半小时左右就要开始了。然后也是在这个 Polygon 券上面。对，所以大家都是很期待。那他们呢是希望说这个项目是能够同时拥有 Web2 还有 Web3 的玩家都可以一起来参与的。所以这就是为什么当时在设计的时候有提供2个不一样的铸造的时间，还有2种不同的铸造办法。所以比方说我们今天在铸造的是 Founders Chest， 然后这个是在链上的。那明天呢要铸造的是 Avatar 这个就是在官方网站的 Kingdom 的官方网站，然后他们是用价格是$20，对，所以标的价格是$20。这样子的话，其实就是方便说，对于 Web2 的传统玩家们，也可以有机会一起来铸造这个 The Kingdom 他们这一系列的虚拟人，然后也有很多很多的赋能哦，比方说，这边有提到说。Avatar 不只是一个独特的角色，他们也是其他一些游戏啊，还有说在就是你可以接触到的 Kingdom 是整个生态系统，对吧？它算是一个，因为这算是一个土地为根基的一个 meta game，OK，land based meta game，OK，所以这个就是可以希望说大家如果有注到的话，就是拿好，因为后续就其他的赋能都会有出来。那我们同时在今天这场节目进行当中也很巧，就在讲到了 Web2 跟 Web3 游戏的相结合的同时，也来了另一个热门游戏像 Ultiverse 的共同创办人加 CMO。Coco 刚才有到现场来聆听哦，对，所以我觉得说就是很巧合，2个都是非常在 Web2 跟 Web3 都非常有一定声誉的项目，然后就是在有点像是穿越时空的吧，对，因为我们是有这个推特空间的缘故，所以让我们可以不受到有距离的局限，对吧？都可以在现场串联在一起，真的是非常非常棒。And once again, thank you so much, the Becky, for your introduction about the collection. And also the main day, friends, once again, friendly reminder, it's today and tomorrow. For today is Founders Chest. And for tomorrow will be avatars and using different platforms so that this could, yeah, onboarding Web2ers to Web3 as well, and also to let people who are not familiar with blockchains, and especially Polygon chain, could also use other methods to get your avatars from the kingdom. That is great, thank you. And we would like to also talk about, since we talk about mint, right? And the mint schedule is today. How about any post-mint plan? Could you please elaborate on what the post-mint phase will look like for the Kingdom game? And are there any upcoming features or development plans shortly after minting? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We have been building our application for approximately a year now. Our initial goal was to identify what we feel projects perhaps don't do enough of in order to retain users. There's often this big push for people to come in, and then there is a lot of pressure for the team to deliver, and in the middle, we find that there's a lot of room to improve the kind of retention mechanisms which are introduced. So we have built a entirely bespoke community reward system which encourages discovery of different types of Web3 games, not just our own. And so, most recently you would have seen a couple of large projects that we've partnered with, such as Pixelmon and Chronoforge, as well as Neo Tokyo. And the goal here is for us to, firstly, acquire new users and cross-contaminate users with these projects. Of course, that's the goal with cross IP, but also to expand the intellectual property of those projects as well as our own. And the way in which we are encouraging our community members to discover different games is firstly via this mechanism, but also part and parcel with our community reward system. So, this can be questing, which is focused on playing a different type of game, solving riddles. There's lots of different types of things that community members can come in and do as far as actually keeping busy. So our goal was to ensure that we have a seasonal leaderboard that people can climb and challenge themselves to compete against the rest of our community for rewards. We just finished season 0, which is kind of celebrating the run up to the events of today and tomorrow. And we gave away a Steam Deck, as well as lots of different types of prizes there. So you can expect there to be additional seasons. Season 1 will start in January. We also had lots of very successful game nights. Pixelmon will happen in the first quarter of next year. Chronoforge was a recent game night where we mobilized hundreds of players to play the game, as well as Farcana as well, where we mobilize hundreds of our community to compete and play in Farcana. So we are building our own game, but we are also a guild. And the purpose of a guild is to play games both recreationally and competitively. So we have quite a proficient professional community when it comes to gaming as well. So there's lots for people to come in and do via that community reward system. We also have built an entirely bespoke riddles, episodic riddles trilogy, where the second episode is coming out in the new year. And there's lots of cool mechanisms for community members to actually influence the narrative of our story, of our kind of lore. And so that's going to be extremely fun. It's going to be challenging for anyone who likes to solve puzzles or riddles, and it's a way for us to distribute and help people understand more about our lore. And so those are two things that are coming in January as far as retention mechanisms. So enabling people to actually do things whilst we're building the game. But I suppose the main thing here is to collect and equip different types of gear to your avatar. So the main aim for the avatar collection, which is inflationary, is to acquire and equip the gear, which is basically a finite resource. It's the scarcity that we're used to in Web3. So, you want to try and find these pieces of gear and you want to equip them to your avatar so that you can generate the most amount of silver, which is an off-chain currency that avatars generate. And that will be a direct link to acquiring land for our land-based metagame. And so, there's a whole host of things coming. And a couple of things that I haven't mentioned, which are some alpha for the Ultiverse community here, is that we're introducing a reroll mechanism in January, which will enable you to reroll both founders' chests to try and get more gear. So each founder's chest has 3 pieces of gear, or potential for to have 3 pieces of gear, but you may get 1, you may get 2, or you may be lucky and get 3. And they also contain uncommon, rare, and epic gear that can be potentially re-rolled to legendary. So the first kind of opportunity for community members to acquire legendary gear is, firstly, you need to have your founder's chest, you need to acquire the gear, and then in January you'll be able to re-roll that gear and potentially find a legendary item, which provides the biggest benefit to the silver production. Decent amount to unpack there, so feel free to ask any questions.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing a lot of information. And I would like to starting from translating the alpha first. Yes, because certainly for friends who already won the whitelist spot from Kingdom Game, be sure to mint it today. Don't miss the opportunity. OK， 那我接下来呢，想要把刚才我们这个The Mad King 他讲的很多很多的内容翻译成重点啊，尤其是我想要特别来强调一下这个刚才有透露的一个阿尔法讯息，这个可能是没有在其他 AMA 场次透露出来的，所以就是要讲说，我们有提到说，因为今天是铸造日嘛，所以很重要的是赋能。那这个产品的赋能是怎么样子的？对，所以是有讲说，其实在1月份的时候会有一个这个 reroll， 也就是说在1月份的时候，可能还会有一些其他的一些空投下来，然后可能就是持有者可能会得到1个或3个，对，这个数目是不等的，所以就是再麻烦大家到时候如果就是再过1个小时。1个半小时，你能够铸造的话，一定不要忘记要铸造。然后，同时他们也有再次强调说，其实，这一整个项目方团队，他们并不是只有在做游戏而已，其实也有在做，什么呢？就是有在做一个像是游戏工会一样的一个组织哦，就是一个 guild。那这样子的话呢，他们也会，也是有跟其他不同的一些游戏方在合作，比方说刚才有提到了好几个比较有名的。比方说像是 Pixelmon， 对不对？那这些我们都晓得呢。还有提到 Farcanon， 哇，这个真的都是很热门的一些头部项目。那这个 Kingdom 他们也都是会有一起合作起来，所以大家可以关注一下。因为虽然他们这个项目就是说，可能现在在 Web3 还是比较小，但是我个人认为是前景还蛮看好的，因为可以看到说团队是蛮积极的，在到处的去产生各种不同的串联，而且不会说因为他们自己是一个自己有做项目，所以他们就说那我就不跟其他的上方来交流，其实不会的，他们就是也是有包容，对不对？多元化，而且同时本身自己还有一个游戏工会的话，这样子的话就真的可以确保说他们长期的在 Web3 的这个领域，对不对？都可以持续的发展下来。那我们还是想要再次提醒大家，今天的铸造的时间即将开始，然后我们是在之前就有抽奖，我们之后呢还会再抽奖一次，因为我们知道说还有很多的小班可能错过了之前机会嘛，那我们还会再提供抽奖呢，就是要提供的是空投啦，也就是说由团队小班们先铸造出来之后，然后再空投给到我们中奖小班，那我们之后会在我们的这个Alpha 对Ultiverse Alpha 上面会放链接，这样子的话呢，方便大家一起来参与。对，然后也再次感谢大家今天的聆听。OK， 我们来进行到下一个问题的环节哦。对，我们今天要分享的是很多的干货内容。OK， 下一个想要跟大家聊一聊的话题呢，我觉得我们要来着重来讲到社区了，因为刚才我觉得很特别，就是说上方团队有提到他们是还有一个 guild， 所以我就很好奇了，一个团队，他们同时又做工会又做游戏项目，那是一个什么样的组成吗 ？And so, Li Making, you have been sharing that your team is not just building games, right? Not just building projects, but also you have a guild. And let's talk about community and engagement. How does the Kingdom team plan to engage and grow your community? And how have you been doing that, especially to balance as a guild, right? And also as a project team. And will there be any special event or activities involved after the main schedule? Thank you.
Yeah, tons, to be honest. Our community team is not liking the Christmas time schedule that we're putting on them. That's for sure. But yeah, there's tons going on. We have close to 1 million words of lore, the story behind the kingdom, and we have only released a really small portion of that. So for any of you who are fantasy fans, there's going to be a serious amount of lore to discover ahead of the game release, which we're earmarking early alpha for Q2. So actually, the reality is that people won't have to wait that long to get the first hands on the game. And the game is obviously a tabletop role playing game, so it's a play on Dungeons and Dragons for anybody who is a Dungeons and Dragons fan. And as you know, the story is the most important thing. So you know the lore is integral. It's one of the foundational pillars of what we've built this project upon, and so the community is actually going to influence the story. So there will be decision-making aspects that the community will undertake. So, for example, the person who's going to be solving the riddle, the first person to solve the riddle in January, will effectively decide whether to turn the mint on and off for the next season. So there's a kind of prisoner's dilemma kind of game theory mechanism that we're looking to introduce that is going to create lots of stress for the community and also the team. So, you know, being able to have a dynamic story that our community is involved in the decision making is extremely important, and it doesn't get done. We don't see that too often. And so this is certainly an experiment that we're making now, and you know we have an extremely loyal community already that we've built, who have stood by us for quite a while now. And so I would say that the most important thing for people to be aware of is the story aspect. But as I mentioned, we do have that community rewards system set up and ready. We've just finished season 0, and season 1 will commence in January, as well as having a cross IP kind of mini NFT collection drop for Neo Tokyo that's coming in January or February. So there's a lot of systems that we have built in order to encourage engagement and retain users and keep them busy. That's the community reward system. Season 1 will start in January. There is a cross IP mini NFT collection coming for Neo Tokyo. That's January, February. The second cross IP collection will be Chrono Forge, and the third will be Pixelmon, and they will likely happen in the kind of March, April, May time. So those are the big events that are coming up, as well as season 2 will happen somewhere around the second quarter. And in the meantime, the way that community members actually get involved is to discover different games, produce lore, solve riddles, and then submit those quests, undertake those quests, and also complete those quests via our application. So you'll be able to come in, choose a quest, go and complete it, provide the proof that you've completed it, and then you'll see yourself climbing up the leaderboard, where there'll be lots of nice rewards for community members. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Of course. Wow, that is definitely a lot that planned for the community to participate, and this will definitely also attract people from different communities, right, to join the Kingdom ecosystem. Thank you for sharing the information. I'm going to translate key points into Mandarin Chinese for our audience. 那我们接下来呢，刚才就是有提到了说，既然是做社区，对不对？很重要。那么在铸造之后，对吧？很多项目可能就是铸造之后要休息一阵子，但是 那么 The Kingdom 这个社区在主导之后又会是什么样的一个规划呢？他们有提到了，虽然在欧美国家这个假期已经开始了，对不对？像比方说月光在美国这边，其实小伙伴们都已经对大学生都去放寒假了，对吧？但是我们 Web3 是没有休息的，然后包含了 Kingdom，整个团队也是会在节庆期间都还是很努力的在线上的工作，然后因为他们要规划很多一连串的，包含从大概在主导后，对不对？还有到1月份呢，一直到持续到下一个可能是下一个季度啊之类的这些活动，都已经安排了很多很多了。那我们来看看究竟有哪一些活动呢？比方说，这边也有有讲到说，像他们的这个游戏里面嘛，对，就已经有包含了很多的一些不同的人物的这些元素在，然后大概有520个。对不同的一些 traits，然后还有当然是有性别，然后有不同的种族，对，所以这些呢，就是可以让玩家们可以来进行一些故事的创作。我觉得这个是最有趣的，因为玩家可以来就是来改变一下，就是这个项目的一些建构是要怎么样来组成的，对，所以就是说项目方他们也是很听社区的一些各种的反馈，对，所以我也觉得这就是说大家可以一起来参考一下，可能不同的项目在 Web3 怎么样来凝聚共识，然后还有创建社区。是这么样一个过程啊，比方说，像在结合了这个 The Kingdom 的游戏，大家也可以组成不同的一些团队，然后这样子的话呢，就可以大家可以一起去做各种的一些游戏里面的任务，所以我觉得这是一个也有结合了社交属性的一个游戏，然后这样子的话也可以保证说我们的小伙伴们，因为在游戏当中不只是好玩，然后可能还要认识到不同的一些朋友，然后进而的一起来建设一整个社区，然后同时也可以把自己的觉得说有一些建议啊或是规划都可以分享给上方。那他们 The Kingdom 是有一个 Discord，所以欢迎大家加入 The Kingdom 的 Discord server，一起来了解一下，对，参与一下更多关于这个项目后续的一些发展，因为其实很多的活动都已经规划出来了。对，我就是觉得说我们在 Web3 生态真的是建设是没有一刻停下来的。对，也欢迎大家可以多关注一下优质的项目，尤其现在我们都知道牛市来了，对吧？牛市的前缘已经在这边我们已经进到牛市前缘，然后就是非常非常忙碌的阶段，在这么多五花八门的项目里面要怎么样选择？我觉得其实，就是我们就是在经过了就是我们的 AMA 的环节，对，然后当然本身在 AMA 之前，Ultiverse 团队其实有筛选了，对大家都是比较可以有信赖、比较放心一起来参与的啊。当然呢，自己也是要做好一些研究。对吧？那我们接下来呢，也想要再进行到下一个话题，因为时间其实已经快要结束了，而且我们知道今天团队也是特别特别的忙碌，对，所以我就不要耽误了太多时间。那持续再把一些重要的图案还有重要的推文分享上来，大家可以提前先看到一下他们的这些 MT 的设计的图案是长什么样子的，这些人物、这些造型，然后这些故事线非常非常的特别。好，and now we are going to continue to our following question as we are getting toward to the end of today's AMA session. I am very curious about since the project team mentioned that this is a AI powered game, right? I'm very curious about could you provide insights into the technology that how the game integrate AI in the kingdom. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for any role-playing game fans out there, the potential for AI where role-playing games is concerned is frankly infinite. There is so much that can be done, from procedural dungeons to procedural quests. The sky is really the limit. So the AI, as any Dungeons and Dragons fans will know, the main component of the tabletop D&D experience is the dungeon master or the game master. also could be considered to be called a director, if you will, the person who's responsible for dictating the campaign's route to the final part of the campaign. And in our case, the goal is for us to have AI procedurally generated questing, and eventually for it to effectively run the game. So the dungeon master slash game master slash director, that is where AI is going to be extremely important for us. It's not there yet in terms of the technology stack, but it's close and it's certainly coming. And so for us, we have trained a model based on our law, and the benefit for us here is that you can turn 10 quests into 1,000 quests, or 1,000 quests into 10,000 quests. So the benefit for the community here is that the story will be constantly dynamic. It will be constantly changing. It will be constantly new. And as I said earlier, the community is actually going to influence what happens in the story. So there's lots of different ways to apply AI to a role-playing game. That much is certainly clear. And in our case, the main goal is firstly questing. And then secondly, it's about the AI game master actually dictating, what's going to happen within our game.
That is very interesting because, as you mentioned, that it could be going from like 10 main parts and going to like 1,000. And does that mean that each of the players, they could change the storyline because of the AI technology? Because I haven't really played any game that players could change the storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So if you can imagine it kind of like a settlement building, so there's two sides to our game here. So you've got the primary game, which is the virtual tabletop role-playing game, and then you have the land-based meta game. So if you can imagine it kind of like the globe, one side of the world will be the tabletop role-playing game. Here, it's about collecting resources, building your settlement, and effectively building the power and people to then wage war on different types of guilds or factions or what have you. So that's the main kind of goal of the game, is to build kind of like a war economy. But in the middle of that, there's going to be lots of world events that the community will contribute to. So if you can imagine it kind of like a power-up meter, where when the power-up meter gets full, there is a massive, potentially world-making or world-breaking event that the community is responsible for that decision. So that's one kind of key functionality that we are looking to introduce, because it's incredibly immersive for the community. So in this side of the world, where you're developing your character, you're developing alliances, you're resource harvesting, you're crafting weapons, you're effectively building your army ready to go to war with other factions. In this, you'll be encouraged to explore the world, and in that exploration, there'll be lots of different types of quests that you can undertake, and they will be AI generated based on the foundational principles that the creative team at the Kingdom have effectively stipulated. So so you can imagine it kind of like you go on a quest, and then rather than keep replaying the same quest, the quest line will be different. So that's kind of the key thing here, is that it's both questing and it's both the game master. That's the key AI integration for us.
That is certainly pretty cool. Yeah. And I personally, I'm also a gamer and a gaming streamer. So I wonder, when will the game officially be launched? Thank you.
Yeah, so the early access is going to be Q2. The public release will be later in the year next year, probably Q3. All going well, Q3. Potentially slightly later, but you can first get your hands on it in Q2, and we'd love to invite you in to test the game out, Moonlight, and help us improve what needs to be improved. And certainly we'll be really glad to get you in to have a look around.
That is certainly pretty cool. Thank you so much. Yes, and in when once we got the testing opportunities, let's do video AMAs, because actually right now we're also streaming on Binance Live, and it is a video AMA platform, so people could share screens, and it's kind of like a Web3 Twitch or Web3 YouTube.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yes, let's do it. Yeah, once the game is launched, or going to the testing, or of our beta testing phase. Yeah, I can't wait to play the game, because I have been heard other teams, they also say that, hey, we want to integrate AI to our game, right? But right now it seems that I really haven't played any of the Web3 game that's already integrate AI, and the players could change the storyline while they are playing the game, right? So it's endless possibilities, right? So I really looking forward to the Kingdom's launch. Thank you. 好的，那 I'm going to translate key points into Mandarin Chinese。我来把我刚才分享的讯息来翻译成中文。对，因为刚才我就是聊到说关于这个游戏，因为我们今天的标题是结合了 AI 还有 Web3 技术的游戏，对吧？The Kingdom 它的本质是这样子，所以我就很好奇说，那 AI 是放在了什么样的地方呢？是放在本来 NT 的设计呢，还是放在其他的游戏里面的场景呢？结果呢，我们的这个 founder The Matt King 他讲说 The Kingdom 他们游戏呢是真实的结合 AI， 是在改变玩家的体验感，就是说玩家可能进了这个游戏之后呢，会随着就是整个团队，因为刚才有讲说大家是可以组队的嘛，组队的，然后还有土地啊什么，就是如果你喜欢屠龙的故事，有恶龙，然后还有各种什么地牢啊，这样子一个非常中世纪欧洲风情的一种游戏画面，你一定会喜欢这种游戏了。然后还有就是玩家可以因为有着 AI 技术嘛，所以每一次可能你在玩的每个人在玩的可能都不太一样，然后都会有千百种不同的玩法。也就是说，这游戏是没有一个固定的一个故事线啊，就是持续的延续下去。我觉得这个就是最酷的地方。那我当然也很期待说，像这么一个结合了 AI 这么崭新概念的游戏会是什么时候可以上线？那刚才有提到说，大概会是在24年第2季度的时候会先有测试版，然后等到正式上线，大概会在第3或是第4季度，反正就比较明年底的时候，因为我们都晓得要把本身要做 Web3 游戏，我觉得感觉好像就比开发传统游戏还要有挑战，因为有各种地方上链啊什么，还有这个代币经济模型啊，各种地方要考量嘛。然后再加上还有现在又是要来结合 AI， 那就更高一层的技术了，对不对？所以每个人可能你在游戏里面进行到的这个故事体验都会不太一样。然后对，我觉得这是会让玩家觉得说是一个百玩不腻的一个游戏产品，那也相信会在我们24年会见到越来越多这样子的一些游戏产品的出现啊，欢迎大家可以多多期待一下。那么时间也来到了尾声啦，我们要来做一个总结，所以我来看一下我们这边有没有一些什么现场提问的一些问题。Let me check because we are towarding the end of today's AMA session. I'm going to see that from our over here, from our comments over here. Let's see if we got any questions over here. Okay, so here's a very important question. For the avatar mint that will be launched on the 19th, right? Does it also require whitelist spot, or anyone without whitelist spot, they could just directly go to the Kingdom's website and mint an avatar? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So this is kind of our secret sauce, if you like. There's no whitelist. The only barrier to coming in and creating an avatar is an email address. You can sign in with Google Authenticator, Discord, Twitter, or several different Web3 options to actually log into our application. Accessibility is a really big problem that we're trying to solve. So once you get into the application, within 5 clicks, you'll have an avatar. At that point, if you like what you see, you can then mint it. We have the option to mint single avatars as well as up to 250 in one go. And so we are trying to make the process for people extremely easy and efficient to actually get to use the technology first and foremost. And then if you like what you see, you can then pay the modest price of $20 to reserve your avatar.
That is very interesting. So people could see the result first and then decide whether or not to pay to reserve it. Wow. Very nice, because unlike other projects, we normally get a blind box, right? And then we are waiting for the reveal, and then sometimes we don't get the ones that we wanted to have. Okay, so this is definitely pretty
Exactly.
good.
Yeah,
Nice.
the idea here is, firstly, again, we have this Web3 experience, which is today, which is the founders' chests, and then tomorrow is the avatars, which is the kind of more Web2 based experience. The way that you pay for the avatars will be Web3, so it will be connecting your wallet and then purchasing the avatar on the Polygon chain with Matic, and we're pushing for there to also be a NFT checkout system so that you can pay. Firstly, you'll be able to build an avatar on your mobile. Once you've logged in, you'll be able to choose all the traits via mobile or desktop. And then you can pay the modest price of $20 via a Web3 connection, so MetaMask or whatever. And you'll also be able to use credit cards, so Apple or Google, as well as Android Pay.
That is just amazing. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing the information with us. And now I'm going to translate key points into Mandarin Chinese for our audience. 那我们最后呢，这边是现场来回答听众朋友们或观众朋友的问题啊，因为我在我们的这个特空间留言下方有看到有小伙伴询问说，诶，他没有中奖白名单，那也可以铸造吗？也是可以的，就是不是今天，而是明天，因为明天会有一个这个avatar， 对 avatar 的一个上线，然后大家就是可以到官网，对 The Kingdom 的官方网站那边，然后就是很简单，其实只要有提交您的邮箱，对邮箱来注册一下，然后接着就可以铸造，而且这个铸造它是可以使用，比方说像刚刚讲了，就可以使用我们 Web2 传统的支付的方式来进行的，而且是可以先提前先选择好，然后先看到说接下来会出现的这个虚拟人是长什么样子，然后自己觉得看了满意了，以后再进行支付。那费用是$20，就是如果说有兴趣要铸造这个 The Kingdom 的虚拟人的话，诶，这是一个很便利的方式，真的也是提供了我们，不管是就是本来在 Web3， 但是可能不需要白名单就可以铸造，或者是在 Web2 的小伙伴，对吧？不是很清楚怎么样来进行链上支付的话，都可以使用这个办法。那也再次感谢各位的聆听 ，Thank you for joining us today, the Macking, and also thank you for the Kingdoms team, for the preparation, right, of this AMA session. I know we have scheduled this event a while ago, and finally today on the Ming Day, the very, very important Ming Day. We
our most privileged guests.
Thank you, my king. I think I should have some British accent skiing with me, so that we could immerse ourselves into this atmosphere. And
amazing.
At the very end, we like to. No, I cannot still. I'm still like, American accent over here. Yes. And anyways, at the end, we're very, very glad to have you all joining us today. Best of luck for your mint, upcoming mint in just an hour, right? And we are going to be there. So, and see you pretty soon at the Kingdom. Let's play the game next year together. Thank you. 我们接下来呢 let's listen to some music to wrap up today's session. Friends, be sure to give the King and the Kingdom a follow. And don't forget, in an hour, very important, mint schedule is coming.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next time. See you in the Kingdom.